It's the final episode of Built to Last, the Green Home. So today we'll test our home, get input from our green building team, and see how far we've come. So stay tuned.
Support for Built to Last is provided by
Unico Incorporated, manufacturers of the small duct high-velocity HVAC Unico system. Unico is dedicated to the environment and has been serving residential and commercial customers around the corner and around the globe for more than 25 years.
Great Northern Lumber, providing green construction materials from skyscrapers to residential remodel. Proud to serve you for the last 27 years and into the future in the lumber industry.
Bosch, power tools for professionals. Proud sponsor of The Green Home. Florida Tile. Expect more. SPI Incorporated, protective coatings, proven performance, and real-world solutions for 24 years. Additional funding is provided by these firms.
We've come a long way and learned a great deal about sustainable construction practices here on Built to Last, the Green Home. Now, on our final episode, it's time to see how our approach pays off now and in the future. With the construction of our home complete, we'll start this episode off with a visit from our energy expert, Sam Rashkin, to give us his final thoughts on our project.
All right. So, Sam, so glad to have you back. This is our final walkthrough on our green home.
Yeah, it's been a long journey, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, we're excited to have you here, and maybe you could summarize for us the features that we don't necessarily see in this green home.
You know, we've seen a lot happen over the course of watching this house get built. And maybe we can simplify it into 3 groups of things that happen to make such a high-performance house. The first thing I think we did was we made a really efficient envelope. You know, the walls, the roof, the foundation, all that was done and made extremely efficient. If you remember, we used those special insulated concrete form blocks for the basement, which are real special. We had these really thick walls and the above-grade walls with insulation on the outside, creating a blanket. Then we have very high-performance windows. I mean, we have a complete blanket around us that's really comfortable. And also, we did a lot of air sealing details to make it very, very tight and avoid the drafts and avoid air coming in that shouldn't come in. So that's all been done. So we have a really great enclosure. That's number 1. Number 2, all the stuff we put inside the house, all the equipment, the lighting, the heating, cooling, all the things that go inside the home, those are all done to use the least amount of energy. So very efficient components throughout the house. That was number 2. And number 3, we realized we had a very, very substantial blanket of insulation and airtight details. So we realized air quality is really important in a house like this. You can't ignore it the way maybe it's been ignored in the past. So we put in a fresh air system that makes sure we have lots of fresh air. We control the pollutants and the materials that we specified throughout the house. The paint, finishes, the wood, the adhesives, everything was selected to keep pollutants out of the house. And then we put in a filtration system that really gets the particulates out of the air and makes for a much more healthy indoor environment.
Well, Sam, this certainly looks like a typical home, but I know there's a lot of things hidden that are green that you wouldn't normally see or think about.
Yeah, now that the home's finished, there's so many of the important improvements that were made compared to typical construction, and they don't show up anymore. So are there some little clues for homeowners when they're in a house like this, a high-performance house, very high-performance house, and know that it's very different? And I'll suggest one that you can see right away that's a giveaway. Okay. And that's the thickness of the walls. They have a thicker frame with a lot more insulation, and on top of that, we blanket the house in the rigid insulation. We wound up with a pretty thick wall. And so that visually tells you that there's a lot more insulation, and effective blanket of comfort throughout the house. There's some things, though, that you can't see that you can, if you spend the time, observe are different living in this house. Right away, you can tell, first of all, it's quiet throughout the house. Every floor, every room. Again, the thick insulation plus the better windows, all the air sealing details have an amazing effect on the quiet throughout the house. The other thing that's different also is the comfort throughout the house. So as soon as you're living in this house, you'll see floor to floor is comfortable within a few degrees, room to room, and often when we live in houses that are less high performance, basements are colder and dank in the winter, upstairs are hotter. That goes away in these homes.
I've noticed that here. Yep, it's great.
And lastly, there are two longer-term effects you might want to check out when you live in a house like this that's so high performance. One is observe how much less your family should be getting illnesses in a home like this. It's so much healthier living with all the chemicals out of the materials, with fresh air and better filtration. You'll probably observe a lot less sickness occurring in your house. And the second thing that's long-term is maintenance. With much better materials and equipment throughout the house, you'll probably observe as well a big difference in this house is it's less maintenance to fix things that go wrong. So, pretty big difference in performance between this house and another house if you observe and try to catch those differences.
And what great benefits. Oh, we've learned so much. And why don't we just head outside and wrap things up?
Well, Sam, this wraps up our final walkthrough on our green home. So what I'd love to ask you now is what can viewers take away and incorporate who might be looking to buy a new home or renovate an existing one?
That's such a great question because we spent such a long time watching this house be built with so many innovations. You would think most homeowners would want to have these in their own house. So the first part's real easy. What can new home buyers do? And if you're buying a new home, it's as simple as first looking for established green labels or the Energy Star for Homes label as a great start. And you have Lead for Homes is a very popular green label, for instance. You also can look for the Energy Star for Homes latest version 3 label. But in addition, and very importantly, I recommend every home buyer looking for a new house ask for the DOE, Department of Energy, Challenge Home label. That's a new label that ensures all the pieces we talked about are completely included in each house. Remember, that's the enclosure that has all the high performance features. You have all the energy components throughout the house. And lastly, a comprehensive package of indoor air quality improvements. So that's a great label to kind of ensure the whole package is there in every new house. Now we move to the existing home buyer. And there's a two-part answer. The first part, I would recommend anytime you replace any equipment, lighting, appliances, fans, make sure you choose the Energy Star label because that will ensure it's a high performance, low energy component. And so throughout the house, whenever you place your heating, cooling, water heating, your fans, lighting appliances, like I said, choose Energy Star. That's an easy no-brainer. The second part is a little more challenging. You want to bring your enclosure, your roof, your walls, your foundation, make them more efficient. There I recommend getting help, getting an expert advisor. A home energy rating system, HERS Rater, will be a great advisor to help you make choices. And choices where you consider not only the energy use, but the impacts on how the wall will work, protecting from moisture, and how it will work also in terms of avoiding other kinds of issues that sometimes happen when we make the house more efficient. So when you make the walls and attic and foundation better, I recommend an expert. And I also recommend once you do those improvements, so remember you need to also start adding whole house ventilation so you have fresh air, and also be aware that you need to start thinking about combustion safety issues since a tighter home may affect the drafting of combustion appliances like the furnace or the water heater. So that's the kind of recommendations I make, but everyone can make their house better or can buy a new home that's very high performance.
Well, we certainly appreciate your expertise and all that we've learned. Thanks so much for your time. It's been great working with you.
Thanks so much, Amy.
As Sam mentioned in our walkthrough, there are many ways to incorporate sustainability in our homes. This is a perfect time to look at 2 amenities that will further our green goals. The first to be installed is a way for us to encompass the green lifestyle even when leaving our home.
The Level 2 chargers, they're really called electric vehicle supply equipment. because they give you safe, reliable energy to charge your vehicle. The charger actually exists in the car, so it's a bit of a misnomer, but everybody calls these EV chargers. The average installation is less than probably 2 hours. As the electrician puts this on the wall, you'd want to identify the best place to locate these. Safety is the most important. Keep the cord away from your access way into the home and make it practical so that it's easy to plug into your vehicle anytime you come back.
Hi Mike, I see you have our EV-Link charger in place here.
Hey Bruce, nice to meet you.
Want to tell me a little bit about the system?
Sure. This is a level 2 electric vehicle charger, and that means it can charge your car a lot faster than a typical level 1, which is the one that comes with the vehicle. If you look at a level 1, it plugs into a standard 110 outlet. This is a level 2, and it is a hardwired installation. You do have a requirement for a licensed electrician because of the voltages and amperage that you're dealing with. But it's no different than, say, installing an electric clothes dryer.
Okay, now this is something that's different from us. We did this as part of a rough-in for new construction. Are you finding this being more common now?
Definitely. In fact, most new constructions in the private sector as well as the commercial sector are installing electric vehicle supply equipment or EV chargers. In some way, it adds value to the home, and it widens your demographic for a potential homeowner. So if you have a homeowner that has an EV and they see the charger is already in place, that's a simple decision for them. They'll really like that.
Wow, that sounds great. So we're on the cutting edge of technology here.
Yeah, we're on the cutting edge, but actually a lot of people say that electric vehicles are the cars of the future. They're actually the cars of today, and we're seeing that even EV chargers are being installed and built in new homes regularly.
Well, I think this is a great system, and it's a great option for a homeowner, and I appreciate you coming out here to show us the system.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
The last system to be put in place is the central vacuum system, which will be a key component to maintaining indoor air quality.
I'm here at the Greenhouse Project in Lamont to install a central vacuum system throughout the house. Before the insulation and drywall, but usually after your trades like electrical, mechanical, and plumbing, we come in and put piping in for the central vacuum. So we come back here and we find the rough-in plates, and we have the stub out, just a pipe sticking out of the wall where the machine goes in the garage. And we hang the machine at that location, hook up the piping and the wiring, go around to each part of the house that has an inlet cover in it, put that cover plate on, and test the system to make sure not only that each inlet activates, but also that you have proper suction. The central vacuum was included in this project because of its indoor air quality benefit. Greener homes are built tighter to be more energy efficient. That's a problem for indoor air quality. And the central vacuum is a big contributor to making sure that as you're vacuuming, you're making the house cleaner instead of dirtier.
Our final amenity is installed, and after a demonstration of the central vacuum, we move on to our home's final system tests for LEED certification.
Good to see you.
Oh.
We ready for final testing?
I think so. I've gone and made sure the exterior doors are closed.
Okay.
The exterior windows are locked and closed and locked, of course. Interior doors are all open.
And the mechanical system, the furnace?
Yes, the furnace is off.
The water heater is on pilot?
We have a pilotless water heater, so we're good there.
All right.
And the HRV is off as well.
Sounds like we're ready to go.
What Jim will do is he will set the frame, and once that's in, he'll go ahead and he'll put the fan in, as well as what's called a manometer. This is a special piece of equipment that tests for pressure and flow. It's really a simple test, and so what we'll be doing is we'll be depressurizing the home just to get a sense of where there might be any leaks, as well as to see if we're performing much better than we did during the diagnostic of the intermediate blower door. So besides doing the overall test for leakage throughout the house, we also took the opportunity just to see if there were any other leaks that were occurring. Sometimes you'll see this around where you have double doors and the joint between the two doors may not necessarily be completely tight, and there was one place down in the storage room that had a small leak. Also, if there are any outlets on the exterior wall that aren't covered, there's potential there. There's still quite a bit coming through, and it's pretty strong. So the results of today's final testing actually were considerably better than our intermediate diagnostic that we had. So the intermediate diagnostic was 2,700. We're actually at 2,400 for the final. Once we actually convert it based on the volume of the house, we're looking at approximately 2.3 air changes per hour at 50 Pascal, or otherwise known as ACH 50. So we're performing much better than what is now the current energy code.
In addition to the blower door test, our HERS rater measures the airflow of the exhaust in the bathrooms, kitchen, and garage to make sure they meet code requirements. He also tests the flow of the HVAC system to make sure it's installed according to design. Then Laureen gathers the last bits of information to complete her final assessment of the home.
So with the home complete, we're ready for our summary to see where we are within the certification program. And to start off, in our innovation and design process category, this is sort of like your pre-planning area for the program, and making sure that we've got a good team put together, as well as we've planned any particular durability strategies, and we'll address any particular risk issues that may arise. As far as our location and linkages, we looked at a site that was in an existing subdivision, so we had some existing infrastructure into which we could tie. It's also part of an edge development. Now, as far as sustainable sites goes, we had a minimum of 5 points there that we had to achieve, which we had no problem. And part of that had to do with how we took care of our surface water management. As far as water efficiency, we only needed 3 points there as a minimum. However, we went well beyond that because we chose to do rainwater harvesting along with an irrigation system that actually utilizes that captured rainwater. Outside, of course, we did high efficiency fixtures, which many projects have no problem achieving nowadays. As far as energy and atmosphere goes, now that we've completed our testing, we will take back our results along with the information on the installed equipment that we inspected and revise the energy model accordingly. So more likely than not, the HERS index will go down quite a bit based on what we've tested so far compared to what we found on the original plans. As far as materials and resources go, we needed a minimum of 2 points there, had no problem meeting it, and we only, of course, paid attention to those handful of materials that would help us achieve that. We installed FSC certified wood, and of course we have hard flooring throughout the home. And along with that, the flooring that we did install was bamboo, which is a rapidly renewable material. We've used low VOC paints and adhesives. As far as indoor environmental quality goes, this was a very important category for the team in general. We were looking at a minimum of 6 points, which were required, and part of the way that we met that is we opted to go with the additional testing, which we did today on the final testing day. And so we tested the exhaust, we also tested the space heating and cooling distribution just to see what the airflow was and to make sure that it was installed and is operating according to design. And lastly, we went through the awareness and education, which although there aren't any points necessarily minimum required, there are prerequisites for this, and making sure that the homeowner is properly educated on how to operate and maintain the home. And as long as it is taken care of, it should be performing optimally for many years to come and will essentially be a home that's built to last.
So our home did well on our blower door test and is ready to apply for LEED certification. But the journey for sustainable homes doesn't end with construction. The building, listing, and buying of sustainable properties also comes with careful planning.
Driving by a home, you wouldn't know if it's green or it's not green. And so consequently, that's a plus because, you know, we haven't got this situation with the home standing out saying, you know, that this is a green home, this is a green home. Once you get in it and you see the value in it, it's when people are amazed at what green homes really are.
So how does a home buyer find a green home among thousands of properties? Over the past few years, realtors and multiple listing services have been moving forward to make the brokerage of a green home easier for buyers and sellers.
We were one of the early adopters of green features in our system, and over the past, I guess 2 years or so, we've seen a gradual increase in the use of those. We set it up so that the user, when they enter their listing, they say it's a certified home, whether it's LEED or HERS or something like that, and then we had them upload the certification document right into the system, so it's then available to everybody. And this way it accomplishes two things. One, you've got good information. You know it's a true certified green home, and we don't require our customers, the realtors, to be experts in green technology. This ties in with providing as much information as possible to that consumer so they can make a selling or buying decision.
The tools for realtors and buyers are becoming more sophisticated for the sustainable housing market. Just as important is providing real estate brokers with the knowledge necessary to assist potential home buyers and sellers.
We are seeing a wave of first-time home buyers entering the market who expect properties to be efficient. So members who have our designation are in tune with all of this and can provide those prospective home buyers or sellers information to make informed decisions. One of the primary goals for NAR's Green Designation is to educate our professionals on how to be a resource for their clients.
Good thing for us is now we will have more informed realtors. So if you've got that certification, you've been through a process where you understand what the greening of a home really means.
You will find the same kind of surge and momentum of training within the realtor community is also taking place in the appraiser community.
On a year-over-year basis, we've seen notable growth in green homes and energy-efficient homes and high-performance homes. As it relates for a homeowner, one of the toughest challenges a lot of homeowners deal with is they're quite informed. They could even be more informed than the real estate appraiser that's coming out for the appraisal assignment. And therefore, it's quite important that they communicate all of the improvements that impact and affect energy efficiency and that contribute to the notion of the home being green. But by and large, the most important thing is to work with a professional who is knowledgeable and who has experience doing this type of valuation, so that the opportunity exists to at least acknowledge what is there in a green and high efficiency home.
Over the past few years, there's been much progress made by all of the sectors of the real estate industry to make buying and selling a green home more accessible. There's still more progress to be made, but it's evident that sustainable construction and energy-efficient properties are the future of the real estate market.
We're now getting a new class of buyers in, if you will. The younger people are now coming to the age of where they're buying houses, and they're obviously more into green, they're more socially conscious.
As people are more informed, as people recognize the direct benefits to their life, they're much more inclined to seek out a green and energy efficient home.
It's the wave of the future, and it's here, and we just have to educate people. And it looks like our associations that are making every effort to do that.
Watching our home's construction from concept to completion has been quite an informative journey. As building practices and materials continue to evolve, home builders and home buyers will be the foundation for a growing movement of sustainable and cost-effective homes in the United States.
From the onset, we wanted to create a home that fit the character of the neighborhood. We had a certain design criteria that had to fit into the subdivision. So we wanted to produce a home that was energy efficient, a LEED certified home that met the certain criteria, and that worked within a price range that was comparable to the market here. And we feel we've achieved all those goals, and we're very happy with the results of this home are. We've had a great team put together for this project, from the concept of design all the way through to construction and completion of the interior of the home. We had the top tradesmen in the field, from excavation work, foundation work, framing. Everybody did a great job. So one made sure that things were set for the next trade to come in, which they were conscientious of what needed to be done as far as coordination. So it probably took a little more effort and coordination, a little more time and planning, which you don't realize, but it made a big difference in the end. So it's just, in the long run, you just got to make sure you know up front what you want to do, how to get it done, the trades you're working with. Just make everybody part of the team, make them aware of what's going on, and that things will work out a lot better.
I hope you've enjoyed following along with us during the construction of an efficient home that's better for its occupants and the environment.
Improvements are being made every day, so I hope you'll continue to explore further into what can be done with your existing home as well as new construction. Thanks for watching.
Visit the Built to Last website to learn about these topics and more. Support for Built to Last is provided by
Unico Incorporated, manufacturers of the small duct high velocity HVAC Unico system. Unico is dedicated to the environment and has been serving residential and commercial customers around the corner and around the globe for more than 25 years.
Great Northern Lumber, providing green construction materials from skyscrapers to residential remodel. Proud to serve you for the last 27 years and into the future in the lumber industry.
Bosch, power tools for professionals. Proud sponsor of The Green Home. Florida Tile. Expect more. SPI Incorporated, protective coatings, proven performance, and real-world solutions for 24 years. Additional funding is provided by these firms.